Watch till the end. Sophie Danielle Johanna de Goede was born on a bright summer day, June 30, 1999, in the coastal city of Victoria, British Columbia. From the very beginning, rugby was more than just a sport in her life, it was a family tradition woven into her DNA. Her parents, both captains of Canada's national rugby teams, had instilled in her an understanding of discipline, teamwork, and resilience before she could even fully grasp the rules of the game. Sophie's childhood was filled with stories of victories and defeats, of lessons learned on muddy fields, and the pride that came with wearing the national jersey. These tales weren't just memories, they were her blueprint for what it meant to pursue excellence. From an early age, Sophie displayed an insatiable curiosity and athleticism. She was rarely still, moving from one activity to another: soccer, volleyball, rowing, cross-country, and track. Her energy was boundless, but rugby always held a special place in her heart. On weekends, she would shadow her parents to training sessions and watch with wide eyes as they demonstrated the intensity and strategy of the game. The fields of Victoria became her playground, where she learned to balance agility with power, precision with instinct. Every tackle, every pass, every sprint was a step toward shaping her own path, building upon the legacy she had inherited. At school, Sophie's talents did not go unnoticed. Coaches and peers were struck by her combination of physical prowess, quick thinking, and leadership skills. By the time she reached high school, she had already developed a reputation as a versatile athlete who could dominate across multiple sports. Yet, despite the accolades, Sophie remained grounded. Her parents emphasized humility, reminding her that talent alone was not enough. Dedication, resilience, and the ability to inspire those around her were equally important. It was during these formative years that Sophie's passion for rugby became a defining part of her identity. She excelled not only for her personal achievements but also as a team player who lifted those around her. In school tournaments, she demonstrated a maturity beyond her years, reading the flow of the game and guiding her teammates with calm authority. Observers noted her rare ability to balance fierce competitiveness with empathy, motivating others rather than overshadowing them. This combination of talent and character set the stage for her rapid ascent in Canadian rugby. After high school, Sophie attended Queen's University in Ontario, where she continued to refine her skills. The transition to university-level play was challenging. The pace was faster, the opponents stronger, and the stakes higher. Yet, Sophie thrived under pressure. She became a cornerstone of her university team, recognized for her consistent performance, strategic thinking, and unyielding work ethic. Each practice and match was an opportunity to push her limits, to learn from mistakes, and to build the resilience that would define her career. By her late teens, Sophie's performances had caught the attention of national selectors. She was invited to join Canada's U20 and senior programs, a clear acknowledgement of her potential to become a world-class player. For Sophie, this was not just a personal milestone, it was a continuation of her family's legacy, a moment to honor the foundation laid by her parents while carving out her own story. The journey was just beginning, and the road ahead promised both challenges and triumphs that would test her physical abilities, mental strength, and leadership qualities. As Part 1 closes, Sophie stands on the cusp of international recognition, a young athlete fueled by passion, guided by legacy, and determined to prove that her path in rugby would be defined not merely by her lineage but by her courage, perseverance, and ability to rise above every obstacle in her way. For Sophie, life as a rising rugby star was exhilarating, but the path of a professional athlete is rarely smooth. In early 2023, during a high-intensity training session in preparation for upcoming international competitions, Sophie felt a sudden, sharp pain in her knee. It was the kind of pain athletes dread, a tearing sensation that immediately forced her to the ground. Medical assessments confirmed the devastating truth. Sophie had torn her anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, one of the most serious injuries a rugby player can endure. In an instant, months of preparation, momentum, and dreams of glory seemed to vanish. The injury was more than just physical, it was an emotional and mental earthquake. For someone who had built her identity around strength, movement, and control, being sidelined was both humiliating and frightening. Sophie had spent years training to push the limits of her body, and now she faced a period of forced immobility. Every step in her rehabilitation would demand patience, courage, and a resilience far beyond what rugby alone had taught her. The first weeks after surgery were brutal. Sophie's leg was immobilized, and even the simplest movements felt like insurmountable challenges. Pain, stiffness, and the frustration of dependence on others tested her spirit. Yet, she refused to succumb to despair. With her parents' guidance and a team of skilled physiotherapists, Sophie developed a rehabilitation routine designed not just to heal her knee but to strengthen her body, mind, and determination. Every day she would rise early, pushing through exercises that demanded endurance, flexibility, and focus, knowing that every small step forward was a step back toward the field. Mental resilience became as critical as physical therapy. Sophie faced long days of solitude and reflection, watching her teammates train and compete while she could only observe. Doubts crept in, would her knee ever return to its former strength? Could she regain the agility, speed, and power that defined her game? Would she still be able to lead, inspire, and compete at the highest level? In these moments, Sophie leaned heavily on her inner strength. She wrote journals, visualized herself playing, and set incremental goals, each small victory reinforcing her belief that she could overcome this setback. Throughout the 13 months of rehabilitation, Sophie's leadership qualities shone in unexpected ways. Though not physically on the field, she remained a central figure in her team's dynamic. She attended team meetings, offered advice during strategy sessions, and mentored younger players. Her presence became a source of inspiration. If she could endure the grueling process of recovery with patience and determination, her teammates were motivated to push themselves further. Sophie realized that leadership was not confined to performance, it was also about courage, consistency, and influence even when you aren't in the spotlight. Slowly but steadily, Sophie regained strength. The first time she could bear weight on her injured leg without pain was a triumph. Progressing from walking to jogging, then sprinting and tackling, each milestone was a mixture of elation and caution. She understood that rushing could undo months of painstaking work. Every sweat-drenched training session was a reminder of her commitment, of the sacrifices she had made, and the future she was determined to reclaim. As 2024 turned into 2025, Sophie reached a critical point. She was cleared to return to competitive play. The months of relentless effort, mental endurance, and unwavering focus had paid off. Yet, the comeback was more than just a return to the field, it was a transformation. Sophie emerged from her recovery not only stronger physically but wiser, more patient, and more empathetic. She had experienced the fragility of an athlete's body, the importance of mental resilience, and the value of perseverance in the face of adversity. When she finally rejoined her national squad in the summer of 2025, the reception was electrifying. Teammates, coaches, and fans welcomed her back with admiration and excitement. Sophie's journey from injury to recovery had become a story in itself, inspiring not only her team but countless aspiring athletes worldwide. Her first match back was more than a performance, it was a statement. Setbacks are temporary, resilience is permanent, and determination can rewrite the trajectory of one's life. Sophie's journey through injury and recovery became a defining chapter of her career. She had faced one of the harshest trials in sports and emerged not only intact but transformed, with renewed purpose, deeper empathy, and a leadership presence that extended far beyond athletic performance. As Part 2 closes, Sophie stands ready to step onto the field, not just as a player returning from injury, but as a beacon of resilience and a testament to the power of courage, patience, and unyielding determination. After 13 months of grueling rehabilitation, Sophie de Goede returned to the rugby field stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever. Her journey through injury had transformed her not only physically but mentally and emotionally. She carried with her the wisdom of perseverance, the humility of patience, and the fire of unyielding ambition. As she stepped onto the turf for her first match back with Canada's national team in mid-2025, the stadium buzzed with anticipation. Fans, teammates, and rivals alike recognized that Sophie's return was more than a comeback, it was a symbol of resilience and leadership in its purest form. Her first games were carefully managed, balancing the need for competitive play with the caution required to protect her previously injured knee. Yet, even in these early appearances, Sophie's impact was undeniable. Her presence on the field brought calm authority and strategic clarity to her team. She orchestrated plays with precision, motivated teammates with quiet confidence, and executed key defensive maneuvers that reminded everyone why she had been entrusted with the captaincy. Every pass, every tackle, every sprint reinforced her return not as a survivor of injury, but as a true leader and a world-class athlete ready to reclaim her place at the pinnacle of women's rugby. The 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup in England represented the ultimate stage for Sophie's story to unfold. Canada's team, inspired by her resilience, approached the tournament with a sense of unity and determination that had been forged through adversity. Sophie's leadership extended beyond tactics. She became a symbol of hope and motivation, embodying the journey every athlete faces when confronting setbacks. Her teammates drew strength from her example, knowing that if she could endure months of pain, uncertainty, and relentless training, they too could surpass the challenges before them. Throughout the tournament, Sophie demonstrated extraordinary versatility. She played multiple positions with equal skill, excelling as a goal kicker, try scorer, and breakdown specialist. Her statistics reflected her influence. She accumulated 58 points from 3 tries, 1 penalty, 20 conversions, 5 turnovers, and an astonishing 65 tackles across key matches. But beyond numbers, her presence elevated her entire team, transforming individual efforts into cohesive performance. She was both a catalyst and a stabilizer, inspiring confidence and execution in every match. Canada's semi-final clash with New Zealand became a defining moment in Sophie's career. The Black Ferns had dominated women's rugby for over a decade, but Sophie led her team with courage and strategic brilliance. Every decision she made, when to accelerate, when to hold, when to defend, was executed with clarity under pressure. The team's 34-19 victory stunned the rugby world, ending New Zealand's dominance and propelling Canada into its first World Cup final in years. Sophie's leadership on and off the field was widely praised, and she emerged as the central figure in one of the most remarkable narratives in women's sport, a journey from adversity to triumph, exemplifying courage, resilience, and unwavering determination. The final against England at Twickenham was not merely a match, it was a celebration of human spirit and perseverance. Sophie's every movement conveyed experience, confidence, and the culmination of years of dedication. Though the contest was fiercely competitive, her influence permeated the team's strategy, execution, and morale. Even in moments of extreme pressure, her calm focus inspired her teammates to rise above challenges, demonstrating that leadership is not just about individual skill but about uplifting those around you. Off the field, Sophie's journey captured the hearts of fans, aspiring athletes, and the global rugby community. Media outlets highlighted not only her athletic prowess but her resilience, highlighting how her journey from injury to World Cup finalist exemplified the power of determination, mental strength, and courage. Interviews and features emphasized her work ethic, humility, and ability to inspire others, qualities that transcended sport and served as a model for anyone facing obstacles in life. Sophie's story, culminating in the 2025 World Cup, was a testament to the synergy of talent, preparation, and resilience. She had faced one of the harshest trials any athlete could endure, an injury threatening to derail her career, and emerged not only intact but transformed. Her leadership, performance, and character became an enduring example of how setbacks can fuel growth, perseverance can unlock potential, and courage can inspire generations. As Part 3 concludes, Sophie de Goede stands at the summit of her journey. Her achievements are measured not solely by points scored or matches won, but by the courage she displayed in confronting adversity, the patience she cultivated during her recovery, and the inspiration she provided to teammates, fans, and aspiring athletes worldwide. From a child immersed in a rugby legacy to a world-class athlete and leader, Sophie's story is a vivid reminder that true greatness is forged not in moments of ease, but in the trials that demand resilience, determination, and unshakable belief in oneself. Subscribe my channel.